Hey there, welcome. I'm just going to make this full screen. Boom. Here we go. So, as you can see, you've got two pictures of me on the screen now. Lucky you. This presentation is on how to turn one video into a month of micro content, and probably a lot more, honestly, than a month. But it's kind of a way to get started. So, really quick, want to introduce myself so that you know that I know what I'm talking about. My name is Beck Power. I have short hair now, not long hair as in this picture. And I'm from New Zealand, as you can probably tell from my accent. I live in Toronto, and I run an agency where we actually take people's content and turn it into hundreds of pieces of micro content. Micro content, as we're going to talk about, is things like mini videos, micro videos, audiograms, quote cards, really little pieces of content that are like 1 minute or less, or like graphics or things like that. That's what I help clients do, and that's what my products are as well. So pretty straightforward. So the process that we're going to talk about today is the process of going from pillar content. Pillar content is things like interviews, podcast episodes, webinars, trainings, live videos, blog posts, whatever the main piece of content is, that's pillar content. And turning that into those micro videos, audiograms, quotes, memes even, ACTs, which is authority content templates, which we're going to talk about in a second, and GIFs. Everybody knows what GIFs are, even if you say GIFs, which is wrong. And ACTs are these things here, so authority content templates. They are things, we actually sell these. I think I coined the phrase, maybe not. We sell these templates, CANVA templates, that you can add your own information to really quickly. So you don't need, the good thing about this is that your brain doesn't need to do the work of like, okay, I'm in CANVA, what should I post? Because when you log into Canva and you have the templates, you just grab one and put your stuff on it, your colors and a picture of you or your logo or whatever, and then click export, and you never had to use your brain. And I think that's important in a day or an age where we're using our brains all the time. We get decision fatigue. We don't need to do that anymore. Jump into Canva, boom, 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 done. And so that's what ACTs are. And when I talk about them in the future, that's what I mean. So the process here, there's three parts, right? So I like to talk about this just so that we have a context for the rest of the repurposing stuff. So the strategy part is obviously the first part, making sure that you have a plan. That's important. The action of actually recording the content or making the content, and then leveraging that content into those different pieces of content that I said before, leveraging your content into clients, which I'm sure you want to do, leveraging your content into opportunities for being on podcasts or speaking at events or being mentioned in books or whatever the thing is, being mentioned on social media, leveraging that content into those things. So the first thing is strategy, as usual. You want to make sure that you're on the right platform. You want to make sure that you're in front of the right people. You want to make sure that you're speaking in a way that makes sense for you. If you really hate writing blog posts, that's not a good strategy. And then obviously the purpose as well of having your content on the platform. Like, what are we actually trying to do here? A lot of times I ask my clients, why are we posting content? And they say, well, we've got this email list, right? Great. Are you actually pointing the people to it? Are you giving them content that's going to make them join the email list? Because if you're giving them content that's like random, and then at the end you're like, join the list, they're not going to do that. There's ways to use your content to get people to join the list if that's what you want. If you want to sell tickets to an event, it's a different content strategy, right? So just making sure that you have all those things aligned. And in my programs, we talk a lot more about this. I have a framework called the 6 Ps, where we go through and make sure that all your ducks are lined up in a row, and that all the things that reasons that you're doing your content, all the ways that you're doing your content, all the stuff you're saying in your content is pointed in the right direction. Otherwise, if it's all pointed in different directions, guess where it's going? Everywhere and nowhere, right? Pointless. So strategy is the first point. action. Obviously, you want to invite the right guests. You want to actually record the content. Go outside with your phone or sit inside with a good background with your phone and record the content that you want and some type of regular basis, right? Or sit down and write a post if that's your thing, or record podcasts, but making sure that you're doing that type of thing regularly. And the other thing that I like to talk about here is managing the content, because I think that that most people don't know where all their content is. If I asked you to send me 5 hours of content right now, you'd probably have 5 hours of content between the podcasts that you've been interviewed on, the podcasts that you've recorded, interviews that you've recorded, webinars that you've done, videos that you've made, etc., etc. But you would be like, okay, well, that's the lives are in the Facebook group and the YouTube videos are on YouTube. But I had the thing of I had that somewhere. Did that guy ever get me that podcast interview that I did? You'd be thinking like that about your content, and I think you want to manage the content better so it's all in one place, and that is another thing that I talk about, and I have a framework for that inside my academy as well. So the last part here is why we're here today, really. So the context, now you've got a context of how this works. When you've recorded the content, you've done all that, you've got your ducks in a row, you've recorded the content, everything's great. Now you want to leverage it. And there's a ton of ways to leverage content, right? So like I said, you can use it, you can put someone's logo on your website if you're on their podcast, or you can geez, I'm losing my mind here. You can write blog posts and have them featured on other people's blogs. You can do videos that are, you can sell video trainings, or you can do videos that are shared by other people, and that gets you opportunities to do things like podcasts or things like that, speaking gigs, Facebook Live, presentations, right? Teaching in other people's Facebook groups. There's a ton of every time I do my idea brainstorm activity or exercise, I get asked to do it in someone else's group. I literally have always got 3 or 4 people wanting me to do it in their group at any given time. So, creating this type of content creates more opportunities, right? So anyway, the point here is that the leverage can be done in many different ways, and one of those ways is content repurposing, which is the point of this presentation. So I always say that there's 3 parts to leveraging your content in creating like micro content, and the first one is to actually find the gold. Now, what that means is let's say you've got a 1-hour interview, right, or a webinar or whatever. It's a 1 hour of content. And you have to go through it now and find the gold. If you want to repurpose your content, you've got this hour of content, you want to repurpose it, find the gold. How do you do that? Number 1, you could transcribe the whole thing. Now, in the Academy, we have a whole list of places that you can transcribe. We've got free, we've got cheap but okay, and we've got like pricey but really good. And so you could do it that way. You could transcribe it, and then someone could go through and highlight all the good bits. And then you'd cut all of those out in some kind of video program like Premiere Pro or Final Cut or whatever video software you use. You could do it that way. That's what we did for a long time. And then I figured it was actually just easier if we sent somebody straight into the video, and then they used like a multi-trim function, which they have in Premiere Pro, to catch a bunch of short clips. So a 1 hour video, listen, there's probably not going to be more than 10 zingers, 10 really good golden nuggets. Not everything you say in a podcast interview is gold. Most things are not gold, sorry. But there are a few really great zingers, and so you want to go through and grab those out. They might be a minute, they might be 2 minutes of content. Now, you export those out. Now you're left with, let's say, 8 pieces of good video, clips of really good video, right? Micro video. So now what we want to do is export off the audio of those, right? We went through that one. So now we want to transcribe, or rather split off the audio. So now you've got 8 videos and 8 audios. The exact same thing. The video also has the audio, but now there's a separate audio. So now you've got 16 pieces of content, right? Now, what I like to do is go into CANVA again, which we looked at before when we were talking about the ACTs, and I we'll create 3 things, usually. I'll create quote cards in Canva, really easy to do. Again, we've got tons of templates for these in the ACTs. We create videos, like little, the top and bottom of the video, so you've got the subtitles at the bottom, etc., etc. I create the template for that, and I create an audiogram template so that it's basically an audio playing while there's an image on the screen, and then there's usually an audio wave on it to show that it's actually moving and that it's a video. So those 3 things is what I create in Canva. Now, there are other ways, there's unlimited ways to do this. We use Canva for that, and for our transcriptions, we will actually either use rev.com to transcribe the clips that we took out, or we will just have somebody do them manually inside our program. Now, we have used a ton of different softwares for this. I would say Headliner is one of the best. I think it's just headliner.app if you want to look it up, but it's also listed in our tools inside the Academy. Headliner is a really good one. Veed is another good one. Subtitles is another good one. There's quite a few of those, these ones that make little social videos. On your phone, there was one, I forgot the name of it. It's in the Academy. You can just do it on your phone really fast. Oh man, it's right there. It starts with a V as well. Anyway, so you've got those apps to use. So what we do then is grab one of those apps, anyone, and you can do the same thing with all of them. You pull in your video or your audio, and then you can grab a Canva template, which you basically upload a file. You grab your Canva template and place it over the top of your video or your audio, and now you've got, a video and a graphic. Now you can add headlines or subtitle. You can upload subtitle files, or you can just create the subtitle manually inside that program, or you could do that however you want. That's how we do it, is we upload a subtitle file usually, and then once that's done, you make sure the subtitles are there, you make sure your caption's there, you make sure the image looks good, and then you export it out. Now you've got 16 pieces of content. Now, I would create a few memes. Again, creating memes is actually really easy. It's especially easy to do on your phone. There's some apps in the Academy which will tell you, which apps are really good that I use. There's a few, Mematic and a few other ones. I'd create some memes out of the content that you made. I would create some GIFs, if you can, of yourself going like whatever weird thing you've done during your presentation, during your interview. Even if it's just your face looking earnest and talking, you could still put some content below your face so it looks like you're actually saying the thing enthusiastically and the text comes up below. It's 3 seconds, you know what I mean? Like it's a cool piece of content that can get your message across really quickly. So I'd create a few of those. And then also I'd use the quote cards that we made in Canva, if you remember, and then take the quotes that you have found. I pull mine from subtitles really often because it's just easy. But you could go through and listen to your videos, and when you were listening at the beginning, you could have written down some quotes or typed out some quotes that you heard. But you take those quotes and you put them in Canva on your quote cards that you made, and then you've now got hopefully about 10 quotes. You should be able to find at least 10 quotes out of 1 hour of content. So now you've got 26 pieces of content, which is enough for a month, right? And some GIFs and some memes and things like that. Now you've got a month's worth of content from one interview. So that's how we make our content. Now the last bit of that is to actually export it. And what I mean by that is how are you going to use it? Because a lot of times when I work with people, they ask for a bunch of content, and then when I'm like, hey, how did it go with the content? I haven't seen you post any of it. They go, yeah, I know, I just haven't gotten around to it. I've been too busy. And I'm like, well, what's the point? You paid me thousands of dollars to make your content, and now you're not using it. So, again, we talk about in the Academy, the softwares that we use to schedule content and post content and reuse content. It's not like you just post it once and that's it. This is stuff that you can now use for years, as long as you're talking about the same stuff. So we have a calendar in the Academy that we have used up until we got too many clients to manage it on a spreadsheet. But you can access that calendar in the Academy. You could give it to your VA if you have a VA. If you don't, you could use it yourself. But there's lots of softwares and lots of ways to make sure that your content is going out all the time. And that's what's important, is that content is going out so your audience can see your face and hear your voice, and that is what is important. So what is next? I've mentioned the AMP Academy a few times, the AMP Content Academy. That has got a ton of different things in there. We have the brainstorming exercise, which is really valuable. You do 2,000 content ideas in 10 minutes. It's a really cool tool. We've got something for you to manage your content really well. It's a place where you can keep everything in one place, so that anytime you need to access some content, you can find it, instead of having to dig around and then going, screw it, who cares, I won't bother, it's lost. Like, you don't do that. Put it in this place, keep it safe, know where all your content is. And then the AMP 90 program, which is, it's really a service, I suppose. A micro content service is the one that we actually take your videos. We do all the things that I just said for you, so you don't even need to think about it. And if you want, we will post it for you. We'll make sure it gets posted for you every single day, maybe even multiple times a day. We will post it for you so that you never need to think about, is content going out? Now, what that means, of course, is not that you don't need to do anything. You're done. That's not what that means. It means you have content going out, nurturing your audience every single day, so that when you do want to sell something, or when you are putting out promotional posts, or when you're looking for engagement, you will get better engagement than if you did nothing, leading up to it. We always say, when it comes to email lists, and you will have heard this, if you don't email your list for a year, they'll forget about who you are. And if you email them out of the blue, they're going to go, who is this? I don't remember signing up to this. I'm out. But if you're emailing your list twice a week, or once a week, or every day, or every 10 days, or whatever it is, if you're emailing them regularly and then you make an offer, it's a much different conversation, right? Because they'll be like, oh, yeah, I know who this is. This person's been in my inbox. I've been reading their stuff. It's really good. It's the exact same concept with social media. People need to see your face and hear your voice as often as possible. So you still need to make promo posts and do personal posts and make authority and leadership content for your people, but you don't have to worry about posting every day or something going out every day, because it is. And so what we do is really just boost. We give you a boost with that content. And if you don't want us to post it, that's totally cool. Your team can do it. No worries. We'll just send you the treasure trove of content every month, and that's what you'll get. So we're really excited about it. We think that the content that we put out looks really awesome. You can check it out at powercreativemedia.com/amp90 or book a call with me. Jump on a call, beckpower.me/call. I'm really interested to hear where you're at with content and to see where we can take it. I do kind of content audits. They sound serious. They're not. They are simply a way for you to take a look at the content that you're using right now, the strategies that you're using right now, and stop trying to throw spaghetti at the wall. Make a real content strategy so that you are posting consistently. So jump on a call with me. Happy to chat. I want to get you posting consistently, really great content, using the content better that you're already using, and that is what we do. So again, if you have any questions, please book a call and I will see you there.